Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network on YouTube presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and before we get into our NFL Week 14 recap, please, if you haven't, like and subscribe to Uneducated Network where you see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many other shows on our channel. It is more than just a YouTube channel. It is a way of life, I guarantee you. So please like and subscribe to Uneducated Network on YouTube. That being said, let's get right into it. Our Week 14 recap. Let's go ahead. I had a great week last week, 13-3 last week. And I didn't do my picks. I do apologize for the picks, but I'll let you guys know who I picked while I tell you the game. First game on the docket. Oh, well, we talked about the Saints and the Falcons. And that catastrophe that happened. But the Falcons did beat the Saints 20-17. I did have the Falcons winning. But I had them winning anyways. But still, that game was a catastrophe referee-wise. I don't want to get into it. As a fan, I'm ticked off. As a fan of the game, I'm ticked off. Especially as a fan of the Saints. But as a fan of the game, I'm ticked off. That was just bad refereeing the whole entire game. But the Saints do fall to the Falcons 20-17. Now they are still in first place, but it gets tighter and tighter now. So let's go on to the early Sunday morning games. Packers at the Browns. Packers get that victory in overtime, 27-21. I did choose the Packers. Browns coming 0-12, but hard fought game. Deshaun Kaiser said to Josh Gordon, it's going to be a deadly combo for the rest of the season. So all fantasy owners, if you want to get Josh Gordon, get him now because he's hot. He's going to get a lot of targets. That's what you want, someone who gets a lot of targets, because more targets, more opportunities. Josh Gordon came in 3 catches, 69 yards and a touchdown, but the game belonged to Brett Hundley and the Green Bay Packers. They went in overtime. It felt like the game wasn't going their way, down 21-7 at one point in the fourth quarter, but Green Bay comes on in, and big plays from Devontae Adams and big play from the defense at the end as well. So Green Bay comes out there. Now, that being said, they are now 7-6 with Aaron Rodgers potentially coming back next week to play against the Carolina Panthers. So watch out for Green Bay. Last year, they were 6-6 at this time and then won 4 in a row to get into the playoffs. I can see that happen again. It is Green Bay. They are a very dangerous team with Aaron Rodgers coming back, hopefully, and we'll see what goes on. So Browns fall to 0-13. They're a good team. They play hard. That's what you like. But they still could fall 0-16 like the Detroit Lions back in 2008. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Lions at the Buccaneers. And the Lions win 24-21. And I had the Lions win this game. 24, not by the score, but they do win 24-21 off a Matt Prater field goal, basically to win the game. Many concerns for Matt Stafford with his hand coming out. Many concerns, but you could not tell. Outside of, he did have 2 bad interceptions, but that doesn't have to do anything with his hand. It had to do with what was going on with the schemes, what he was seeing. But the hand seemed fine. 381 yards passing, yes, 1 touchdown, yes, 2 interceptions, but through and all, he still looked good. The deep ball will look good. And I think that he'll be fine going in for the rest of the season. They go to 7-6 as well. So now them and Green Bay, very close. Minnesota, we'll talk about Minnesota losing in just a minute. But that NFC North is getting a little bit tight all of a sudden. Just a little bit scary because now you got the bad man coming in. Now you got Matthew Stafford once again winning. So Lions beat the Buccaneers 24-21. Raiders at the Chiefs. I chose the Raiders to win this game. I just thought the more desperate team would come out, and the Raiders got them last time, but I thought they'd come out with a more ground attack like they did last week with Marshawn when he had over 100 yards. Marshawn barely got 70 yards. I think he got 61 yards with a touchdown off of just 7 carries, and that is not a winning recipe. Somewhere in halftime, I believe Derek Carr only had like 69 yards passing, something like that. Bad overall. Amari Cooper, he played, but you can tell he was still injured and nicked up. He kept going to the sideline many times, so it didn't look good on that standpoint for the Raiders. The Chiefs did enough. They finally got them a win because they've been struggling hard, mightily. So they finally go in there and get a victory. Alex Smith didn't have his best game. He didn't have his best game, but he didn't need to have his best game. As long as they got Kareem Hunt, who finally is getting back involved into the game plan. He's seen his yardage, total scrimmage yards, decrease just about every single game. He finally gets over 100 yards rushing, almost 150 yards total offense from scrimmage. So get him involved, and good things will happen when you have a running game. So they defeat them pretty much easily, 26-15. They had a chance. The Raiders made it kind of interesting in the fourth quarter, but too late, too little, too late. And the Raiders fall to 6-7. The Chiefs now are still in command, 7-6 in their division. Vikings at the Panthers at Carolina. Minnesota-Carolina is one of our marquee games. Minnesota at the time 10-2, Carolina 8-4. Something's got to give. Carolina comes out, wins 31-24. When it felt like it was a playoff match, and this whole entire week 14. We're about to get into the good games in a second, but this whole week of games all feels like playoff football right now. It's all intense. Everyone wants to win. Everyone has to win. Everyone has a reason to win. Carolina wants to keep pace in the NFC South. Minnesota wants to keep pace of winning the division in the NFC North. These two teams collided. Two really good teams. Carolina comes out winning 31-24 thanks to Cam Newton's heroics at the end. He had a big 62-yard run to pretty much ice the game for them. They started off pretty hot. They had a 14-point lead, but then you get good Cam, you get bad Cam. You got some really good Cam, you got really bad Cam. Bad Cam threw a bad pass to Christian McCaffrey that led to an interception that led to a Minnesota field goal to tie the game at 24. It felt like Carolina was in control because they had the run game going on. Stewart over 100 yards for the first time in a long time, I believe. 3 touchdowns to his name as well. So Jonathan Stewart had a big game for Carolina. Minnesota, Case Keenum, for all his heroics he's had in the last couple games, this is probably one of his poor moments he had. But Adam Thielen, he's just a beast, and I can't stand him because he's whooping my ass in fantasy in all kind of ways. So, but Adam Thielen, he's the guy right now. He's passed up Stephon Diggs to be the guy for the Minnesota Vikings right now. And but Carolina did just enough. It's nothing special from the receivers. It's all Cam. Once Cam puts the team on his back, which usually he does and wins, they look good. So being at home was a must-win for Carolina to stay close in the NFC South with Atlanta and New Orleans as well. In that game, I had the Vikings winning that game, so didn't look good right there either. 49ers at the Texans, San Francisco. I had Houston win this game. I just thought Houston would come out with a better game plan than what they did. They couldn't run the ball. And it was surprisingly to see San Francisco shut the run down so effectively. Lamar Miller, 11 carries, 31 yards. You're not going to get anything done with that. DeAndre Hopkins did come out, had a big game, 11 catches, 149 yards, but he had 144 just about the beginning of the third quarter. After that, I'm not going to say he was shut down, but Tom Savage going out. TJ Yates comes in basically in the second quarter. Tom Savage concussed. It was something weird because he thought he can come back on the field, and they told him he couldn't come back. He was bleeding out the mouth, all kind of crazy stuff. So TJ Yates comes in and does a fairly decent job, but let's be honest, that defense, who at the beginning of the year was probably going to be a top 5 defense, with all those injuries they have now, there's just no way they can compete. When they made Garoppolo look like he was Tom Brady, and credit to Garoppolo, he has not lost as a starter yet in his career. We're talking 4-0, but he hasn't lost, so I mean, right now he has one of the best records as a starting quarterback. And Garoppolo's leading this San Francisco 49ers team, and they look good on offense. They look better with him running the offense. So they came out there and they got the victory, 26-16 over the Houston Texans in Houston. So watch out for that 49ers team. Get a couple moves in the offseason, they could be on the rise for sure. Probably the craziest game and the game I want to go to for real, just for like a bucket list kind of game. The Buffalo Bills were hosts to the Indianapolis Colts, and it was snowing like crazy. Cats and dogs. I had the Bills winning this game, and yes, they came out and won this game. It wasn't pretty by the stretch of the imagination, but the Colts on the road, I just never liked them. I really rarely pick the Colts when they're on the road because they're a dome team, and sometimes they play like a T.Y. Hilton's a dome kind of guy. He's not an inside. He's not an outside kind of, when he goes on the road, those cuts and breaks aren't as fluid when you're in a dome, when you're just wearing tennis shoes. But that being said, it went to overtime. And Shady McCoy came out with a 21-yarder to win the game in overtime. The Buffalo Bills went 13-7. But this game, I got to look into it. I got to see the pass yards from both sides. I know that I guarantee you all 3 quarterbacks, because yes, Peterman went out with a concussion, and they had Webb come on in number 14 for the Buffalo Bills to basically win the game in overtime. So he's got him a game winner in overtime, a comeback winner, whatever you want to call it. But he came in and he secured the victory for the Buffalo Bills, but no quarterback went over 100 yards, I guarantee you that. But Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy both over 130 yards of rushing. It was a great game, a great atmosphere. to be around. Those kind of games only come in a dime and a dozen. So Buffalo is happy to get that win, and they stay in contention at 7-6 for the wild card spot in the AFC because they're gonna need every win they can get. I promise you that. The most shocking game, I had the Bengals defeating the Chicago Bears. Well, that did not happen. Chicago put it on Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is just a straight up mess right now. And they were a mess in the beginning of the year, but now they are just truly a mess. They lose to the Chicago Bears 33-7. A Bears team that finds it very hard to score puts up 33 in your building, 33-7. Mr. Trubisky played an okay game, but my thing is when you get Cohen involved, the little scat back, man, he got involved. 80 yards rushing. I'm like maybe 14 carries, something like that. They did a good job, especially on defense. Chicago, they play okay defense. They play really good defense. They're opportunistic, and they showed that against Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton and the Bengals have been struggling on offense all year. They can't get scores. They can get drives going, but they can't punch any touchdowns in. And it showed in this game. Costly errors and giveaways, especially from AJ Green. He had a catch and a fumble, stuff like that. You can't have that going on from your two best guys in Dalton and AJ Green. So they go down 33-7. Chicago. I picked the Bengals to win just because Chicago and Bengals let me down. It is what it is, right? NFC East, let's talk about that. The Dallas Cowboys visited the New York Giants and East Rutherford, New Jersey, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know where they play, to be honest. The Meadowlands. But the Giants go ahead and lose to the Cowboys 30-10 in this game. One, Eli came back. He got a standing ovation for the crowd. Very good moment, very cool moment. But outside of that, it was very competitive in the first half. Basically, the first three quarters, to be honest, and some with the fourth quarter. But Dallas and Dak Prescott, you give Dak Prescott a running game. That's all he asked for is a running game. Alfred Morris and Jaden Smith both gave him that running game a little bit. They combined to get, I think, almost 100 yards rushing. You give them some type of kind of rushing and then play action, or it gets Dak Prescott confidence going up as well in the game. And he had a nice touchdown to Dez Bryant, who took it 60 yards for a touchdown. And, of course, a nice one to Jason Witten, reliable, who still got it. If those guys get involved, the veterans, Dez Bryant, Jason Witten, and then you get Dak involved as well, now confidence is going all around the area. And Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott comes back, I believe, next week, so they have a chance just like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers do. So they're 7-6 now. So that NFC wild card is up for grabs, especially the 6th seed is going to be up for grabs. I guarantee you there's at least 5 teams that can get in to that last wild card spot. So I cannot wait for these last 3 games in. But the Cowboys win 30-10. The Giants, they just don't have any weapons. They just don't have anything. They don't have anything, and it's not really their fault. Injuries happen. Life happens. The NFL. Next man up. So they lose 30-10. Cowboys go to 7-6. Giants, their season has been over with, so we're not worried about that. Tennessee Titans visit the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals got to win 12-7. Oh, I did choose the Cowboys to beat the Giants. I did chose that, so I was right about that. And the Titans and the Cardinals, I chose the Titans to come on and beat the Cardinals. I was wrong about that. The Arizona Cardinals come out and win 12-7. No touchdowns, straight field goals. Old man Phil Dawson hit 4 field goals, and that's all they needed. Marcus Mariota is having an unbelievably bad year. I believe he has 16 interceptions compared to like 11 touchdowns. That ratio was horrible. And I didn't know it was that many interceptions because Marcus Mariota was known his first couple years in the league to not turn the ball over. He's super efficient in the red zone. We know about that. But outside of that, this year he's making bad decisions on all around parts of his game. Every time he throws to Delaney Walker, it's a good decision. But when Delaney's not open, he starts to crumble in his decision making. I think someone needs to tell him sometimes, you're a running quarterback, run the ball sometimes. You got to run the ball. And in some certain cases, you got to run the ball. And he's not doing that. Both defenses play very well to win. But at the end, Marcus Mariota hurt his team and hurt his chances. Now they are no longer first place in the AFC South. They are now in second place. Another head scratcher, the Jets at the Broncos. The Broncos put a shutout on the Jets, 23-0. I had the Jets winning this game. I just thought, the way that Josh McCown is coming out and playing very well, and that the offense is playing well with Roby Anderson, all those guys, I had a feeling that they would come out there and actually play well. Well, it did not happen. Akitili did come back, and now this defense that all of a sudden looks great now But the last 3 or 4 weeks they're horrible, even with Akeem Talib. So even with him in the lineup, they were playing bad. So I just figured, well, this Jets offense has been clicking on all cylinders right now. They're going to put up some points, maybe about 24, 27. That's all you need against the Broncos, to be honest with you. Trevor Siemian played a very efficient game, and that's all he needs to do is be efficient. They've been ringing around the quarterback, and I don't know why. I would have stuck with Trevor Siemian from the get-go. He had 2 or 3 bad games, and they just figured, let's go with Brock Osweiler. I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, you guys must want to lose for real. But Trevor played a very good game, got Demaryius Thomas involved as well. When you get Demaryius Thomas involved, he's a big physical receiver. When he feels like he's involved, he's going to give you big numbers. So that is what happened. The Broncos shut the Jets out 23-0. I'm very disappointed in the Jets and that performance they gave out. Josh McCown basically was out after halftime with a hand injury. I heard he had a back injury and a hand injury. He was my starting quarterback in one of my fantasies, and he gave me -1. So thanks, Josh McCown. We'll talk about that later. So let's go on to the Redskins at the Chargers, and I had the Chargers winning this game for a good reason. Their defense. This defense has been on fire the last 6 weeks. The big reason why they're actually tied for first place in the AFC West now is 7-6. They started off 0-4, so now they have been pumping and they've been coming in like gangbusters, man. I'm loving this Phillip Rivers to Keenan Allen combination. It's going very well for them. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers have always been a competitive team. They've always found ways to win games and found ways to lose games in both highly fashions. But this year, yes, early in the year they had close games. Now their defense has made it to where they haven't had any close games. They've been blowing teams out because of their defense. They're very opportunistic defense, I might add. So they've been doing a heck of a job, man. Now they've been playing against some teams that have issues. Even the Redskins have their passing game is it's not there. There's no one there to catch the ball. But with that being said, they took advantage of it, and now they are been blazed. I believe they won 7 out of the last 9 games, I believe. So they are definitely looking like playoff contenders. We will find out next week when they play against the Kansas City Chiefs, and the winner gets sole possession of first place. That's going to be a big marquee matchup this Saturday. I cannot wait for that. So the Chargers win 30-13. Redskins, their chances of the playoffs are just about over now. They're done with. So what do you do with Kirk Cousins? We will find out in the offseason. I cannot wait for that. Now, let's get to our 2 marquee games of the week. Let's start off with the Seattle Seahawks at the Jacksonville Jaguars, both coming in the number 5 seeds of their respective conferences. Seahawks, number 5 in the NFC. Jaguars, number 5 in the AFC. What went down? The Jacksonville Jaguars in arguably their biggest game in the last decade, since the 96-97 season, pretty much. So you want to say the last 2 decades, to be honest with you guys. But their biggest game, both 8-4 coming there, both great defenses, both dominant in that area. Both have somewhat slightly bad offenses, but Russell Wilson is the better quarterback than Blake Bortles. What comes out is, I always say this, in the confines of the game, I'm talking like the first through the third quarter when everything's close and it's pretty and stuff, Blake Bortles is a hell of a quarterback. My problem with Blake Bortles is when it's time to win the game in the fourth quarter, we need you to have the ball. You got to either tie the game or you got to win it. That's when Blake Bortles becomes a completely different quarterback. But in the confines between all that, before all that, he is a great quarterback in my opinion when it comes down to decision making. Now, he made some big plays. And the first 3 quarters, the Jaguars defense was humming. They were humming. They were intercepting Russell Wilson. He had 3 picks in a day. And they made Russell Wilson look bad the first 3 quarters. But after that, my goodness, Russell Wilson was on. He was on. He threw a ball to Paul Richardson, and then he threw a ball to Tyler Lockett in back-to-back possessions. They at one point down, I believe, 30 to 10? Down 30-10, yeah. And then they had those 2 back-to-back bombs, which scared all of Jaguars fans inside that stadium. And even I was like, whoa, Seahawks have a chance to come back. And they did. They had the ball at the end. Now, there was a play where Jacksonville should have been called for a holding call, which was obvious to everyone's eye, but the referees didn't see anything. This is how it goes, right? So that kind of, but needless to say, the Seahawks put themselves in a bad situation to lose that game because Jacksonville took advantage of every interception or every time they got the ball away from the Seattle Seahawks. Leonard Fournette over 100 yards rushing, which is good for him, and a touchdown as well. And Blake Bortles is fine. Blake Bortles has touch. His deep ball touch, I like it. I love it. He has a big, strong arm. Everything else is not good. So I'm glad it didn't come down to him having to win the game for them. If not, it'd probably been different news. But Seattle, during the kneel down for the Jaguars, they had a big scrum between Jaguars and the Seahawks. And the Seahawks players they're downright dirty. You know how they do. You know, we all saw against that Patriots when they lost in the Super Bowl, how they, did what they had to do at the end. When the game was over, why even risk being fined or suspended or, all that stuff, or kicked out the game for no reason, man? You don't want to risk that. And they did the same thing in this game as well. One of the guys even got into it with the fans, was about to hop in the fans and start beating up fans. So don't worry about all that. Seattle, you lost. Jaguars came in. Jaguars are 9-4. They have sole possession of the AFC South, and Seattle is now on the outside looking in once again for the playoffs. So we don't know what's going on, but it's going to be crazy, man. And the Jaguars win 30-24. Big victory for the Jaguars. The biggest game of this week, besides the Panthers and the Vikings, it was the Eagles visiting the Los Angeles Rams in a very, very entertaining game. We knew that these two teams were the two highest scoring teams in the NFL, and they proved it today. The Eagles defeat the Rams 43-35 in a very highly anticipated game, a shootout from start to finish. Both teams came out and they had those offensive weapons, especially when the Rams are at home. They know how to score the ball, and the Eagles know how to score too. Carson Wentz had it going on. Todd Gurley had it going on for the Rams. Todd Gurley almost 100 yards rushing, almost 200 yards from scrimmage. He is just dynamic when he has the ball in his hand, whether it's a screenplay, whether it's running the ball. Just give the ball to Todd Gurley. He makes good things happen. He was hurting over people, all that good stuff. So shout out to Todd Gurley, man. You are just a beast. I give him that. But for the Seahawks and Jaguars game, I actually had the Seahawks winning that game. So I was down on that. But the Eagles at the Rams. Eagles came out up 7-0, but the Rams came out and scored. You know that, and it'd be funny to see these two teams back in the playoffs. Like, if it happens, I'm all eyes for it, because this was a remarkable game from the start to finish. But bad news coming out from the Philadelphia camp. Somewhere at the end of the third quarter, Carson Wentz dove into the end zone and got hit by two players from the Rams. Carson Wentz left and did not return to the ball game. Apparent knee injury, and we don't know how significant it might be. We're praying that it's not a torn ACL or anything in that area, but we heard the coaching staff came out, they were shaking their heads, they were kind of disappointed. So it could be the end of Carson Wentz for this year. We hope not, because he is a true MVP candidate. But the good thing for the Eagles is Nick Foles has been there. He has done that. At one point, he was 7-2 with the Eagles for his career. So Nick Foles knows the system, and he's been there, and he came into this game and act like he had been the starter from day one. So it was good to see Nick Foles come out there and actually perform to win the game for them. The Rams defense, when facing a good quality opponent, they give up some stuff. But Eagles are arguably the best team in the NFL, so it's no shame to losing them. But if the Rams would have won, they would have been they've been tied for first place. And I don't know how the tiebreakers go between them, Minnesota, and the Eagles. I don't know how that goes, but I do know that Minnesota beat Los Angeles. So both teams came out hard fought. Carson Wentz went out, but Nick Foles came out, and actually Nick Foles came in the game and held on and got the victory for them. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Carson Wentz next week. We'll find out in the next within the next hours. We'll find out what is up with Carson Wentz's knee, and we hope that everything is fine, because if he is out, the Eagles are just another decently good team. No, let's be honest. I think Carson Wentz, 6'5", 240, can run, can throw deep, and he has this arm talent out the world. Nick Foles is not bad himself, but he's no Carson Wentz. And that's a big downgrade in my opinion, especially if you're Eagles coach staff. Now you got to kind of change your style just a little bit, just a little bit. And that little bit could be the difference between a Super Bowl championship or being out in the first round. So that being said, our prayers go to Carson Wentz from the Uneducated Sports Talk family. We do hope that everything's fine. So, and in this game, I had the Eagles winning. I had them winning. I didn't know it would be a shootout like this, but I thought they would make it more close than what it was, especially after losing to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. What a crazy week. Crazy week. Let me see my wins. Let's see. That was how many games that was? That was 14 games. So I got 1 victory, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I didn't do good. I think I went 8 and 8 and 6 so far, something like that. I'll look it over. But anyways, look, NFL year is just getting crazy and crazy. Next week, even have more good games going on too. Got a Thursday game, got a couple Saturday games as well, and then of course your Sundays and Mondays. So with that being said, let me know how you feel about Carson Wentz. If he is out, are the Eagles still the best team in the NFL? Let me know how you guys feel on that. But with that being said, please like and subscribe to Uneducated Network, where you can see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many other shows on our channel as well. So that being said, you guys know what time it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.